You know that feeling, that deep, constant sense that you just have to stay on guard? We all live with it, don't we? This tension between wanting to feel safe, wanting to just rest, and living in a world that feels, well, anything but safe. Today, we're going to get into what it really means to find security, especially when your heart feels completely and totally exposed. So let's just start right there. Really think about it for a second. Does your heart feel exposed? Is there a part of you that's always kind of scanning the horizon for the next threat, bracing for bad news, or mentally rehearsing a tough conversation? That feeling of being vulnerable, man, it is exhausting. And it's really the core of what we're going to explore together. So, okay, when we feel exposed like that, what's our first instinct? It's to protect ourselves, right? It's completely natural. We sense that something could hurt us, and boom, we start building walls. We put on armor. We try to create this little fortress around our hearts, hoping it'll keep all the danger out. And look at how this plays out. I bet some of these feel familiar. Maybe you're the person who just emotionally withdraws when things get tense. You just shut down. Or maybe you're the opposite. You try to over-explain or over-manage every single detail, thinking if you can just control it, you can prevent the pain. We play out worst-case scenarios in our heads. We assume we know why people are doing what they're doing. These aren't just random quirks. They're strategies. They're driven by fear, all in an attempt to stay safe. But what if there's another way, a totally different path? Psalm 62 gives us this really profound alternative to all that noisy anxiety that comes with self-protection. It introduces this idea of a different kind of quiet, and it's a quiet that isn't born from fear at all, but from something way, way stronger. And here it is. This is the bedrock. The writer, David, he's in a really tough spot. He's surrounded by threats, by relational pressure. And this is his response. For God alone, my soul waits in silence. He's not sticking his head in the sand and ignoring the danger. He's deliberately re-anchoring his soul somewhere else. The Hebrew word here for waits in silence is dumiyah. And this is so important. This is not the silence of giving up or just shutting down. Not at all. It's actually a really active, powerful state of being. It's a settled confidence that says, you know what? I don't have to scramble and strive here. It's a quiet dependence that's resting in a strength that is not my own. So let's just make this crystal clear because it's a huge distinction. The silence that comes from fear, that's when we go quiet because we're just plain overwhelmed. We shut our emotions down, we pretend everything's fine, but underneath, we're just anxiously striving. But the silence of trust, this dumia, it's the complete opposite. It's this confident, dependent, and restful posture, even when the storm is absolutely raging around you. And this brings us to a really crucial question, one we all have to answer. Where are you actually looking for your safety? See, we all build fortresses. The question is, are they made out of your own fear and your own need for control, or are they found in something or someone completely outside of yourself? Back in the day, if you wanted to show you were safe and powerful, you'd roll out your horses and chariots. That was visible, military might. Well, our modern versions look a little different, don't they? We trust in our ability to control people and situations. We demand certainty before we'll move. We put on that emotional armor to keep people at a safe distance. We rely on ourselves. We think that if we're just hypervigilant, we can keep ourselves safe. But the psalmist, he points to a completely different reality. He says God only is my rock, my salvation, my fortress. It's not that God gives you a feeling of safety, it's that he is safety. This isn't just some nice subjective hope, it's presented as an objective fact. While all our self-made fortresses can, and do, crumble, this one is declared to be absolutely unshakable. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we actually build our lives on that reality instead of on our own fears? Well, the psalmist tells us our trust isn't just wishful thinking. It's built on truths that have already been spoken, things that are settled, final. And it really all comes down to two foundational, unshakable truths. The psalmist says, once God has spoken, twice have I heard this, which is this old Hebrew way of saying, hey, listen up. This is a settled fact. This is the real deal. So, here's the first truth. Power belongs to God. And think about what that means. It means your safety doesn't depend on your ability to predict the future. It doesn't depend on you managing every single variable. You can actually release that crushing burden of feeling like you have to foresee every possible outcome, because the ultimate power, it doesn't rest in your hands. And that is incredibly good news. And the second truth is just as powerful. Steadfast love belongs to God. The Hebrew word here is hesed, and this isn't talking about some fickle, on-again, off-again kind of affection. No, hesed is a loyal, unbreakable, covenant love. It's the kind of love that doesn't pull away when things get hard or messy or painful. It's the love that endures. Period. Now, this whole path of resting in God's power and God's love, it's not just some abstract idea from an old psalm. It was walked out perfectly. It was fulfilled by Jesus Christ. Just look at this. When he was facing betrayal, injustice, unimaginable suffering, what did Jesus do? He didn't build walls. He didn't lash out to protect himself. Instead, he consistently, completely entrusted himself to his Father. He lived Psalm 62 perfectly, even to the point of death. And here's what that means for you and me. At the cross, Jesus took on the very worst of human injustice, of abandonment, and he did it for us. And because he did that, we are freed from that crushing weight of having to live like everyone and everything is a potential threat. The gospel is the ultimate proof that God's love and his power are trustworthy, even when our circumstances are screaming the exact opposite. So how do we actually put this into practice this week? Well, the next time you feel that fear creeping in, that instinct to build a wall, just pause. Walk through these steps. First, ask yourself, is this a real danger right now? Or is my fear just filling in the blanks by assigning motives to someone? Second, what am I tempted to trust in right now to feel safe? My own control, my ability to argue, just avoiding the whole thing? Third, force yourself to remember what God has already spoken. Those two truths, power and steadfast love, belong to him. And finally, just turn that into a simple prayer. At the end of the day, that deep longing you have for safety, it's not wrong. It's a good desire. It's just meant to find its home in God, not in your own ability to manage and predict your life. This is the incredible rest that Psalm 62 offers us. True safety is never found in a predictable life. It's found in a near God. And the real question for all of us is, will we let that be enough to finally quiet our hearts?